Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome again to another live here this morning, and we got a very special guest with us. Sorry for coming on with a little bit of technical difficulties. We're at a pharmacy here, Seasons, and this is a dear friend of mine. And okay, Mike, how are you? You guys are getting your notifications. Nice to see you. Andrea, can give me a thumbs up if you can hear us well. And John, how are you? And Sandy in Fergus Falls, Minnesota. Brahim's in Portland, Oregon. How are you, Brahim? Tina, Nova Scotia. Okay, we're getting a thumbs up. And Sherry, Nativity, good morning to you guys. Fran, how are you in Orangeville? Kevin, Oshawa, how are you? Mike in Norland, and Jeanette from our staff. Okay, we got a good crowd coming on, and we appreciate that. And like I said, got a very special guest, and I'll come on afterwards and give you, say hello to the, hey, Sandy in Vancouver, Washington, Cecilia, Barbara, Kansas, how are you this morning? Nova Scotia, good morning, and we appreciate you guys coming on. Okay, so Rachel was trying to,
I'm giving up.
she was trying to do simultaneous live with us this morning, but somehow, I don't know. I think the two of us together, there's too much energy in this room.
We're breaking down the internet. It's happening right in front of our eyes. I'm
Okay.
gonna try one more time here. Live video. I'm just
Okay,
gonna do
she's going to try it.
I'm doing one more time because you know it might work.
You never know,
You never know.
right?
You never know.
We had to do this a couple
Blessed
of times.
are
I
the
don't know.
flexible.
Yes.
We'll never get bent out of shape.
Good morning. Hi,
here
Karen
we go.
from Sault
Let's see if
Ste.
that's
Marie. Okay, let's see. Is Rachel coming
Yeah,
on?
and it's gonna work.
Okay, so she
Okay.
is simultaneous
We're
on it now.
simultaneously on
Here
it.
we go.
Okay, beautiful, awesome.
Okay,
Let's
so
get
good.
started.
Okay, so Rach, let's talk first of all before we, I just want to get how you sort of, as a pharmacist, okay, have really implemented, sort of integrative medicine into your practice, into your professional life, and your store here is a good example of that. But I'd like to get your story a little bit, but let's talk first of all about an event that you and I are doing together along with Karen Hordovenko.
Yep.
Well, you give us the details.
So that's going to happen on. So everybody on my show, this is Dr. Tony Martin, and he's a new friend. We got to thank Frank Rastico for introducing us to each other. So I'm just going to explain. We're having an event. It's going to be three of us talking. So you and all of your extensive background and all the books you've written around health and wellness. I am a pharmacist, but I opened a pharmacy in Sudbury that has food as medicine. And so instead of a traditional pharmacy, we have a commercial kitchen in here. We work with local farmers, and we really encourage people that the best way to battle their chronic illness, it doesn't matter what it is, let's go from mental health to GI issues to diabetes, it really starts with your food. So instead of selling junk food and Boost and things in our pharmacy, we sell real food, and we also have prescriptions, but we are really here coaching people around how they can improve the quality of their life by the things that they eat.
Yeah.
And so that's you, me, and Karen. We're going to meet next, it's on the 29th of October in Sudbury. So if you're in the city of Sudbury and you want to attend a live health symposium, it will be free to the public, which means anybody can come. We're not high tech enough to do an online sort of version of this, but maybe we'll record it. I don't know. If Frank is going, he's probably going to record it. But we're going to take questions from the audience, and each of us is going to talk a little bit, and we're going to be on a panel. We're just going to discuss the issues as we see it in our practice. I've been in practice for 30 years. You in practice for how long?
Too long. 50.
More than that.
5-0. Celebrated this year, my 50th year. Now, where I was in private practice, I've been, sort of only doing podcasting and some educating since probably the last 4 or 5 years. But yeah 50 total years in the healthcare field. I mean, that's a long time.
And Karen, so she's a nurse practitioner, but she works in clinical psychology. And she's been in practice for 35 years. So listen, it's one thing to go to Dr. Google and look up your symptoms and try to research your life. It's another thing to have an opportunity to work with somebody who's been in clinical practice and paying attention to what's happening in society and sort of helping you interpret that. Because there's a lot of junk out there and there's a lot of really good stuff. And the other thing is, your individual health is not going to be answered in a book or in a Dr. Google. And even at our symposium, it won't be answered. But there are some really general principles, I think, that maybe, we're not taught this kind of stuff in school.
No.
So,
that's
and we're
a
not
fact.
really taught this kind of stuff at home anymore. And there's a lot of confounding factors out there. So I think it's a great opportunity if anybody lives in Sudbury and wants to come. Or, if you live in North Bay or the Sioux, you can come to Sudbury. You got to go to...
Got to go to Costco. If I
Yeah,
want to
the
go
C
see
word.
any of my old patients, I just go to Costco.
Yeah, you'll find them all there. So if you have to come to Sudbury anyways, come on the 29th, do your other business during the day, and then hang out with us in the evening. So Au Pied du Rocher is at Collège Boréal, and it's a great venue. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about doing this. It'll be the first time the three of us do something like this.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it, Rachel, for sure. And I know, for my audience, and I know there's a fair amount of people around from in the Sudbury area, but you're more than welcome to join us. Like Rachel has said, it's free, and we're going to answer your questions too. I know you'll have a lot of questions. It's going to be a great format where you can just, we'll give a little presentation, I'm sure, and go back and forth, and it's going to be interesting. So that's October 29th. 7 p.m.?
Yeah, 7 to 9.
7 to 9, 2
2
hours.
hours.
If you can take 2 hours of me, you can. It'll
we're
be a
gonna
lot.
share you out.
It'll be a lot easier with Rachel and Karen, and we're looking forward to doing that. So again, we'll put a poster up. I'll put it on our private Facebook group, and you can pass it around to tell everybody about it. And if you get a chance to come, we'd love to have you.
So we have to, we're not selling tickets because it's free, but there is a limited capacity. It seats 100 people, that venue. So if you want to go, I will be putting the post that's not ready yet because, my husband came home from hunting last night and didn't finish the post. So the poster is ready, and all the information will be on the Seasons Pharmacy website. I have an events calendar. If you go to www.seasonspharmacy.com or just Google Seasons Pharmacy Sudbury. The full name of this business is Seasons Pharmacy and Culinaria. Culinaria meaning all things related to the kitchen. I stole that from the Latin languages. But I will
I
have
hated
tickets.
Latin.
Yeah, well, pharmacists, we have to speak in Latin. All the symbols on those prescriptions you can't read are all Latin symbols, so we can take care of you. But anyways, we're modernizing things. We turn it into English. Yeah, so on the Seasons Pharmacy website, you'll be able to get your ticket, and I would recommend, when we post the link to that ticket, that you get it early because I've done a few events, smaller audiences, 30 people, 15, 30 people, and they fill up very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think between you, me, and Karen, I think that these tickets will go pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And anyways.
Yeah. So that's going to be a great event. And while I got you here, Rachel, I really wanted to pick your brain because I know that food is very, very important to you. And for me, obviously, I've been talking about that for a long time. A lot of stuff, I tell my audience a lot. I had to undo in my mind because, when I took nutrition in school and then postgraduate work, a lot of times, they minimize the effect of food. But it really is important. I mean, it's the one thing, if you think about it, that you can control in your life is what you put in your mouth every day. So, Rachel, tell me a little bit about yourself and then how you got to really be interested, obviously in your profession and in pharmacy, but also how you got interested in this field of food and nutrition, food being medicine.
It's interesting because I started off, I just wanted to be in the healing profession. So I thought that would be medicine, but I don't know. I ended up in pharmacy school. And then what I learned in pharmacy school is that, there's some pretty serious drug-related problems out there. And it's good that there's a specialist that really understands how drugs work and how to help the public be successful with their drug regimes. Mm-hmm. So I decided I wasn't going to continue to apply to med school. I was going to practice my life as a pharmacist. So then I worked at Memorial Hospital here in Sudbury for 3 years, and then I just switched and I went to retail pharmacy. And I like retail pharmacy because you speak to the patient right there. You are on a health journey with a person. Yeah. In the hospital, someone's in and out. So you're not really building much relationships there. So I ended up working in the food mass chain. That means I worked for a very large grocery retailer. And I thought that was great because, you know, all the lifestyle factors we learned about in school, obesity, diabetes, all that, you know, they're all like heart attacks. The first thing you're told is, okay, as the pharmacist, you're supposed to counsel on all the lifestyle factors, which means eat better, get more exercise. Typically, that's mostly the answer to that. And so then I thought, oh, perfect. I'm in the fruit section of a big grocery store. Like the pharmacy was in the produce area, and I'm like, I don't care where I practice as long as I'm allowed to talk to patients about what's important to them. I don't care who's paying my salary, right? So I worked there for a long time. I ended up supervising pharmacies. We sent pharmacists to all kinds of training on diabetes, obesity, all of those things. And because I was in pharmacy operations and I was in charge of towards the end, building the conferences and educating pharmacists, we could not get the pharmacists to talk about food. And because they're like, oh, it's not our scope of practice. We have hired dietitians in this chain, But, you know, the honest truth of that is that somebody is presenting to you with a grocery cart full of things that are not good for you. And there you are giving the drugs, and now you're having a shame and blame conversation at a cart full of crap. And it's actually very difficult to engage in a conversation with someone when they're feeling guilt and shame around what's in their cart and that they know that you know what's in their cart.
Yeah.
So when Lori and I, so I have a business partner, her name is Lori Pennell, when we thought, okay, we're at a stage in our life, we're kind of old, but we're going to start a business anyways.
No. You're still a pup. What are you talking about?
I know, I'm not quite as old as you. But we thought, okay, so we're going to build a pharmacy. So if the system is, or the place that you practice defines how you're successful in that practice, we got to design a different kind of a place. So we designed a place with a kitchen. We envisioned that we could do cooking classes. We envisioned that we could have fresh food. We envisioned that we could show by example. Another thing that's very interesting, though, is that when our kids were growing up, and I'm going to throw Uncle Derek under the bus, but he's probably not going to watch this, so it's fine. But Uncle Derek was so this is Mike's brother. My husband is Michael. Mike was hunting. Mike moved from Brampton to Northern Ontario and became a redneck. So he learned how to hunt and all this kind of stuff. So we're at some Christmas function, and Derek is ribbing his brother. Oh, you're shooting Bambi, and this is terrible. But the fundamental thing underneath that was that Derek was shopping at, any food mass, right? Buying the meat in plastic. And here's my little kids. I have Andrew and Adam are 4 and 6, and I have little 2-year-old, and I'm pregnant with the other one. And I'm realizing that, geez, my children, I wasn't grown up on a farm, but my grandparents had a farm, my uncles had a farm. I spent a lot of time on farms. Yeah. So I knew where food came from. But clearly Uncle Derek didn't know where food came from, that somebody has to execute the animal before it shows up wrapped in plastic in a grocery store. And I thought, well, I need to do something about this. I need to teach my children where their food comes from. And so then, then I started gardening. Then I started raising chickens because I thought, I need manure for the garden. Oh, wow, chickens make eggs. I kind of forgot about that. I don't know why. But then, then I'm like, raising animals, fresh eggs, fresh meat. And then I got into pigs. So I live this very complex life. I have a family with 4 kids that I want them to understand where their food comes from. I run a farm. I raise turkeys, chickens, ducks, pigs, and lambs. My kids are raising lambs. And then I run this food pharmacy. So I feel and I worked in the food mass chain for 20 years.
Yeah. So you understood.
So I understand, strategically, why our culture is running the way it's running. We're running now, what can I buy as cheap as possible, that's as convenient as possible, that takes the least amount of my time, wasting time in the kitchen, that's easy to clean up. Well, here you go. Industry is going to bring that solution to you in a little tray that you stick in your microwave, and you can keep scrolling your social media. You don't have to cook. Unfortunately, if that worked great, and it was convenient and cheaper and all of that, and we were all healthier and thriving, then I'm all for it. The problem is, we're sick. And, when you're in practice for 30 years, you see, people are getting sicker younger. Yeah, we're living longer, but what's our quality of life? Exactly. We're on 12 drugs. I got to put people in bubble packs. You're adding a drug to counteract the effects of another drug. But the other thing that's very interesting is all of our drugs come from plants. Not all of them, but most of them come from plants.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
If your body is a giant biochemical reactor and you need ingredients to run your machine, so would we agree, Dr. Martin, that we have a living life force around our body, and our body is very smart. It's trying to heal and repair itself all the time. Do you agree?
100%. And the more you study it, the more you realize how fascinating the human body is. It's incredible. Absolutely.
So if we start from the fundamental belief system that your body is a self-organized system that's very intelligent, and it's just looking all the time for ingredients to run its biochemical reactions so that you can have your happiness hormones, so you can have your sex hormones, so you can have all the things.
Yeah.
If all we eat is the dead stuff in the middle of the store that doesn't rot, we're missing two key ingredients. We're missing life force and we're missing microbiome, which also has its own life force and its own innate intelligence and its own biochemistry.
Unreal, eh?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? So anyways, that's my long-winded, why did I get here? That's how I got here.
Well, you know what, Alicia, like that, that is exciting because, you know, it's almost like the light comes on. When you look at the big picture, I talk about this on our podcast every day. I you know, just take the big picture and say, okay, if what we were doing is working, then you and I would be okay. I mean, probably maybe happy or whatever, but it's not working. I mean, you know, I always emphasize the fact that 93% of the population, it's unbelievable, of the population in North America has some form of metabolic syndrome, meaning that the very thing you're talking about, the life force, energy, how our body produces energy from food, it's not working. It's disrupted. We're in trouble. So, I mean, when, you know, I meet someone like you and that, you know, is a professional and gets it. You know what I say? What I mean by that is get it. Like, it's not just like you're trying to put a Band-Aid on stuff. We're actually going to the root cause of, you know, the vast majority. You know, I mean, my son said this to me. This is years ago. Him and I were talking. He said, Dad, you know, what we have in society today is disease without a fever, in a sense that we used to die from infections. Not that we can't. Of course, we still can.
We're still dying from infections, just different ones.
Infections and viruses and whatever. Because we didn't have the medicine. Like, I always said antibiotics were the greatest discovery of the 20th century. But he said, Dad, we have disease without a fever. And today, it's inflammation.
It's inflammation, chronic low-grade inflammation.
You know. And I always tell people, well, look, inflammation is not the original cause because inflammation didn't come out of nowhere.
No,
there
your
has
body's
to be
reacting.
causes.
Your body's trying to heal something.
Exactly.
Like, there's something in here, I'm trying to heal it. Okay, there's like so many ways we could go in this conversation, but I want to challenge you something about antibiotics, okay? So I thought the same thing, antibiotics, world's greatest invention. Okay, so then I started farming chickens. And when you go to the feed store to feed your chicks, they're giving you automatically the feed with antibiotics in it.
Yeah.
I'm like, so you have to specifically ask for no antibiotics in my feed. Why do I need antibiotics in my feed? I'm not an industrial chicken house. I have 15 chickens in my yard. So when you follow that chain a little bit more, so I thought I made the assumption, very bad living conditions, very poisonous. So chickens have to be on antibiotics so that they don't get sick and die. No, do you know why they're on antibiotics? So they will gain weight faster.
Yeah.
So,
obesity. Oh, you want obese chickens.
You do. You know what? You
Yeah,
want
it's
obese
crazy.
chickens with diabetes
Yeah.
because we like our marbled meat. Well, what's marbled meat? Fat stuck in the fat cells stuck between the muscle cells. Like, it's not really supposed to be there. That's like metabolic illness right there. But it was like an aha moment to me because in school we studied, antibiotic resistance is going to be the bane of our existence going forward, agricultural use of antibiotics. So I had like these layers of siloed information. And sometimes what we need to do is, okay, it's nice to be in your silo and be very specific, but also I think the world needs people to step back and go, okay, I'm going to take a broader look at this. Why are there so many antibiotics in the food system and why are they there? They're all there to make sure that animals gain weight faster. What does that mean? They wipe out something in your microbiome that kept your weight in check.
100%.
So if our chickens are fat and our pigs are fat and we're getting fatter, it's like, is it in what we eat? So what critical thing was wiped out in the microbiome of the chicken? Maybe that's wiped out of my microbiome. Maybe part of the reason I'm larger or our whole culture is, 30 pounds heavier than we were in the 50s.
Yeah.
Maybe it has something to do with our microbiome.
Big time.
Right?
And,
So,
like you say, it's like when you start going back and looking, and it took, like, Michelle, I find it fascinating. Like you said, you saw it because you you were back to the basics, and you had your own chickens, and you look at the soil, and you look at what's happening in there, and it's incredible because, like, for me, I don't think I've written a book. I think I'm at 24, whatever, it doesn't matter. I can't think of a book where I didn't have a chapter on the double-edged sword of antibiotics.
Yeah.
And one of them is obesity. And I was interviewed years ago in Dallas, Texas, by a fellow there. He still got his program online, but he was talking way back then. I'm talking about the early, I think the early 90s, would have been 91 or 92. I traveled down to Dallas because I had written a book on chronic fatigue syndrome, and he talked to me about leaky gut.
Yeah.
He talked to me about the microbiome. He talked to me about...
He was a little ahead of his time in the 90s. And we're still
about
struggling with this.
antibiotics. And he was talking back then, and he actually had a guest on the same program that I was on that day. He was an oncologist talking about cancers being fungal-based. And he blamed didn't only blame antibiotics, but he said that is a double-edged sword of antibiotics. So anyway, you see it every day. So
well, and it's interesting because what's a preservative? Yeah, we put preservatives in foods. Why? So they don't rot. What makes something rot? Oh, a microbiome.
yeah. Yeah.
So, we don't call them antibiotics, but they are antibiotics all over the place.
Yeah.
And the observation there's a couple of disease states that really skyrocketed since I practiced, and all of them are metabolic related. But then also the other group is the autoimmune.
Yeah.
So what's an autoimmune disease? My body's
huge.
attacking itself. Why is it attacking itself?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, we don't have any more other viruses to attack, so we got to attack something because we're on duty. We got to do something, the immune system, right?
Yeah.
The other thing that's really happened is that the amount of toxicity in our environment. So if we want to talk about antifungals, we now paint our houses with paints that have antifungal components in them. So the fungus won't grow, but now some kind of weird gram-negative bacteria is growing in there. Well, our body's not used to being in indoor spaces with gram-negative bacteria. We're kind of used to, over our whole lifetime, having a bit of mold in our environment. Like a little bit, imagine being in a stone castle. Even if you lived in a stone castle, you had moisture in the stone castle. You didn't paint that with anything because you had to live. So for centuries, whether it was some kind of a barn, you lived, your house was over here, your animals were underneath you. And imagine the vigorous life force of microbiome that you were exposed to.
And the thing is, too, and just on that autoimmune, like when you think of all the allergies now that people have.
It's allergies, autoimmune. It's like as we've sanitized and preservatized and antibioticized our
over
world.
Cleaning, over sterilization,
So
over everything.
Yeah,
right?
we've done that. So it's a double-edged sword. Listen, we invent things because they serve a purpose, and in the short term, they're miraculous. And in the long term, we go, oh, maybe we should not have done that. But it takes 30 years of somebody paying attention and observing it. I would give you like a lot of examples. Let's go with, let's bring rabbits to Australia. Okay, well, there's no predators for rabbits in Australia. Maybe we should not have done that. Let's go to, maybe I shouldn't go from the autopsy room to the maternity ward. Maybe I should wash my hands in between. Oh, no, it took 30 years for that to, we hear. So somebody is paying attention going, oh, look at this alarm. So your guy, 1992, is going, oh, the microbiome, look at this. And here we are in 2024, and we're still talking about it. And everything just keeps getting worse. So, anyways, listen, we are empowered individuals. This is not going to be a depressing talk at all.
Nope.
It's just going to be empowered. Okay, here's
a lot of solutions.
Here's all the mess we're in right now. What can you do as an individual to improve your quality of life and your state of health and the amount of the kind of sleep you're having? And there's lots you can do. This is why I built this whole pharmacy with solutions in it, and it's interesting. I'm open for it's my 5-year anniversary today for being open.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we opened just in time for the pandemic.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We're very proud to still be here. That's awesome.
Okay.
But we sort of have two client bases. It's interesting because you sort of have the food shoppers, and they don't really use the prescription department. And you have people who, they're just Googling what's the closest pharmacy to me in Gatchel. I just moved to Sudbury, and they're here for the pharmacy, and they walk in and they go like, what is this place? And it's almost like running two businesses. You have the people that are in the chronic disease management system, which is the pharmacy department, and you have the people who are in the health business, which is the food side of the business. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love the blend. I
love
really do.
I hope that more people will walk from the pharmacy side to the food side.
Yeah.
And over time, that will definitely happen because it'll just become obvious over time.
Yeah.
You know.
And, you know, isn't that interesting, eh, folks? So listen, again, like just to remind you that on the 29th of October, which I believe is a Tuesday night,
It's a Tuesday night. Yeah.
we are going to, there's going to be 3 of us involved in this seminar. And Rachel is going to be with me and Karen Hordovenko. And you can get your tickets. We'll show you how to do that if you're in our area at all. And if you want to come to Costco and do some shopping on that day and then come at night, hey, we're happy to have you. So I know, and I say this to my audience, Rachel, that people are looking forward to it. We're very, very excited about that. And if you are in the Sudbury area, I invite you to come down to Seasons Pharmacy. Come and have a look and see for yourself this wonderful place, this combination of traditional, maybe I'd say traditional medicine, but nutrition and food. And, you know what I think about that personally. So it's a great time. So, Rachel, any closing comments?
Keep an eye on the comments here because that's where we're going to include the details and the link to the ticket.
Okay.
My next job, as soon as I got this podcast, I'm going to do that. If you want to watch Seasons Pharmacy, I also have Facebook. I do some Facebook Lives. There's a lot of videos of all kinds of interesting people I've interviewed and recipes that we've cooked here. But Karen Hordovenko is coming this afternoon, so sometime between 3 and 4 when she gets here, I'm going to do a live so I can introduce my audience
Beautiful.
to Karen. And so we can get to know a little bit about her and what her sort of view on things and what she's going to contribute to that panel.
Yeah.
But we're very excited and please, if you're from away and you're going to make the trip to here, it's a free event, so you can put some of that money in the gas to get here. And do come and visit us. It's interesting. I do meet people from all over the province. Pharmacists that I went to school with is one group of people because they think it's kind of a bizarro thing that I've done. But people that have heard about us come in from pretty far away. It is the only one that exists, and I wish it wasn't, because if there were more of them, it could start a trend, right? You got to start with someone. But it is unique. There's none. I did a lot of exploratory work. My husband works for Air Canada. Or was it? Anyways, I took a lot of trips. Me and Lauren, we did a lot of exploratory trips. We went to cool places like California. I thought we'd find something like this in California. Nope. Went to BC. Nope. Went to a few places in Italy, and went to Italy and Portugal and Denmark and some Scandinavian places looking for a model like this. It does not exist. So it's an idea whose time has come. Our medicines come from food. Food is medicine. Good food is medicine. Bad food, what's the opposite of that? I'm not going to say it.
Yeah.
People can imagine.
Yeah. Well, guys, listen.
Right.
Yeah, this has been fun.
Yeah, thanks very
much. Thanks for coming on with the Doctors In podcast this morning. And folks, just a reminder that Friday is question and answer Friday. So if you have any questions, send them in. Sometimes I don't see them on the scroll. So if you want to answer your questions, send it to info@martinclinic.com, info@martinclinic.com. If you're not a member of our private Facebook group, 22,000 people are. So get involved, folks. Come on there. You'll enjoy it. And we got recipes on there. You know that? Yeah, well, people put their healthy recipes up there. I love it.
If people want to submit questions, like even if you're not going to be able to attend, but there's a question you want answered, there is a chance it's going to be recorded. I believe it'll be recorded. I don't know how we're going to share it after, but if you think that you have a burning question that you think you'd like to ask the three of us, you could also send that to your info at Dr.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll do that.
Send that in, and then it'll help us decide which topics we're really going to talk about, because we could go in so many directions on that night. So
I'll try and focus.
Yeah.
You know me and my rabbit trails. Okay, guys, we love you dearly, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.